The brand new pastor and his wife, newly assigned to their first ministry to reopen a church in urban Brooklyn, arrived in early October, excited about their great opportunities. When they saw their church, it was very run down and needed much work. They set a goal to have everything done in time to have their first service on Christmas Eve. They worked hard, repairing pews, plastering walls, and painting. On December 19th, they were ahead of schedule and just about finished when a terrible tempest, a driving rainstorm, hit the area and lasted for 2 days. On December 21st, the pastor went over to the church. His heart sank when he saw that the roof had leaked, causing a large area of plaster to fall off the front wall of the sanctuary just behind the pulpit. The pastor cleaned up the mess on the floor, and not knowing what else to do but postpone the Christmas Eve service, headed home. On the way, he noticed that a local business was having a flea market-type sale for charity, so he stopped in. One of the items for sale was a beautiful handmade ivory-colored embroidered tablecloth with exquisite work and fine colors. It was just the right size to cover up the hole in the front wall. He bought it and headed back to the church. By this time, it had started to snow. An older woman running from the opposite direction was trying to catch a bus. She missed it. The pastor invited her to wait in the warm church for the next bus, due in 45 minutes. She sat in a pew and paid no attention to the pastor while he got a ladder, hangers, etc., to put up the tablecloth as a wall tapestry. The pastor could hardly believe how beautiful it looked, and it covered up the entire problem area. Then he noticed the woman walking down the center aisle. Her face was like a sheet. "Pastor," she asked, "where did you get that tablecloth?" The pastor explained. Then the woman asked him to see if the initials EBG were embroidered in the lower right-hand corner. They were. They were the initials of the woman, and she had made this tablecloth 35 years before in Austria. The woman explained that before the war, she and her husband were well-to-do people in Austria. When the Nazis came, she was forced to leave. Her husband was going to follow her the next week. She was captured, sent to prison, and never saw her husband or her home again. The pastor wanted to give her the tablecloth, but she wanted him to keep it for the church. The pastor insisted on driving her home, saying that it was the least he could do. She lived on the other side of Staten Island and was only in Brooklyn for the day for a house cleaning job. What a wonderful service they had on Christmas Eve. The church was almost full. The music and the spirit were great. At the end of the service, the pastor and his wife greeted everyone at the door, and many said they would return. One older man, whom the pastor recognized from the neighborhood, continued to sit in one of the pews and stare. The pastor wondered why he wasn't leaving. The man asked him where he got the tablecloth on the front wall, because it was identical to the one that his wife had made years ago when they lived in Austria before the war. How could there be two tablecloths so much alike? He told the pastor how the Nazis came, how he had forced his wife to flee for her safety, and that he was supposed to follow her, but was arrested and put in a concentration camp. That had been 35 years ago. He never saw his wife or his home again. The pastor asked if the man would come with him for a little ride. They drove to Staten Island to the same house where the pastor had taken the old woman 3 days earlier. He helped the man climb the 3 flights of stairs to the woman's apartment knocked on the door, and saw the greatest Christmas reunion he could ever imagine.